Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today I've got an episode of Loadout, the series where you guys, the viewers, get to pick my gun and accessories for each episode. The way you do this is you leave a comment down below letting me know what kind of weapon and attachments you'd like me to run with, and I will pick one of the top rated comments for the next episode. Today's top comment comes from Cal Broxup, who says, Airsoft style LevelCap, F2000, also known as the FN2000 in Airsoft, heavy barrel, foregrip, Cobra, M9 plus laser tac, med pack. Try to play tactically just like you would when you play Airsoft in your Airsoft videos. Find ways to flank the enemy, work with your team, and maybe play hardcore mode for a more realistic experience. And enjoy. Now, in my last Airsoft video where I was using the F2000, I did have a sight that was very similar to the Cobra. Here I've decided to use the red dot sight because in Airsoft I've upgraded to a micro red dot sight, which is basically an Aimpoint T1 replica sight. And I'm surprised that Battlefield doesn't have these sights in the game. Hopefully they'll have them in Battlefield 4. They had them in Medal of Honor, the latest Medal of Honor game. They're very cool sights, probably one of the more popular shooter sights available now because they're just so compact, easy to see around, and very, very precise. As for my sidearm, I've actually switched it to 1911 for this loadout here because I actually have picked up a KWA 1911 from Airsoft GI. That's something that I'll actually be showing to you guys hopefully sooner rather than later. I'm trying to still figure out a good holster system that works well for me in Airsoft. But I gotta say, the form factor of the 1911 is great. It's just such a fun pistol to shoot, and I can't wait to show you guys the Airsoft video of that. But anyway, in this video here, I am using just a standard 1911 as a sidearm. No suppressor, no tac light, just basic 1911. Now, a cool thing about the F2000 in real life is that the volume of the gun is actually quite large. It's got a huge body of the gun. It's pretty wide, but to make up for the weight that this gun would otherwise incur if it were made out of full metal, it's mostly made out of polycarbonates. Even some of the interior parts are made out of polycarbonates instead of metal to reduce the weight of this weapon, so you get a nice compact weapon that doesn't really weigh more than an M4. Another really cool design feature of this gun is that the bullets actually eject, the bullet casings eject through the front of the weapon. So it can be switched between left and right hand users, and you don't really have to change up much on the weapon because the bullets are flying out the front of the gun, so it doesn't really matter. You can switch between left and right hand shooting if you need to shoot offhand for a different corner. You're not going to be getting issues of bullet casings flying in your face. They're going to be going out the front of the gun, which is, I think it's one of the only weapons that actually shoots the bullet casings out the front of the gun. It's probably part of the reason why it's such a thick gun in the center of it, because there's like these little tubes that the casings travel down. Now, what's funny is that anybody who knows a lot about real life guns and plays Battlefield 3, they'll often talk to you about things like how much it annoys them that the bullet casings fly out the side of the F2000 in Battlefield 3, considering that they don't in real life. Alright, so enough of the real life weapon, let's talk about how this thing actually performs in Battlefield 3. It's an excellent assault rifle. At one point in Battlefield, early on before the game was patched quite a bit, the F2000 was without a doubt the best assault rifle. All the competitive teams were using the F2000 non-stop, and of course since then the gun has been patched, other guns have been buffed quite a bit, and the F2000 is no longer quite the powerhouse that it used to be. It's not to say that the F2000 isn't a good rifle anymore, it's just not quite as laser beam accurate as it used to be. Speaking of its accuracy, it actually has horrible recoil. It's got a 0.5 pull left, a 0.4 pull right, 0.26 vertical pull, and its first shot multiplier is 3.0. This makes it an incredibly inaccurate gun, very hard gun to control the recoil and hit your targets at long range. I found that was probably my biggest problem while using the F2000 here, is that just hitting those long range targets, you pretty much have to spend all 30 rounds, and even then sometimes you don't get them. The base cone of fire accuracy, your bullet spread starts off at 0.4 as well, whereas other more marksman assault rifles start off at 0.2, like the M416 has a nice 0.2 cone of fire spread. The F2000 starts off at 0.4, which is double. So it's, again, just not going to be a very accurate weapon at all. Kind of the opposite of what my experiences are in Airsoft. Now, of course, I don't have experience firing the real steel version of this weapon, so I can't compare what the real steel version is like in real life. But I can tell you that The F2000 has a very long internal barrel for the size of the weapon, which should make it actually a very accurate weapon. In fact, the internal barrel is almost as long as an AK-47's internal barrel. So I believe in real life you would probably have a very accurate platform with the F2000, and that's just one of the benefits of having a bullpup weapon, is that you can fit an entire really long barrel inside the body of a weapon because the mag is feeding at the rear. Now, one of the biggest benefits of this weapon is having very good hip fire. Because it's bullpup, DICE treats bullpup weapons as having good hip fire accuracy. So if you want to slap a laser beam on here instead of your heavy barrel, you can use it as sort of an exclusively close quarter weapon, really just hip fire your targets. I don't really find that as necessary. In fact, I find the heavy barrel to be a really good marriage for this gun, and it will allow you to get some serious damage done at medium ranges at least. Long ranges, again, the recoil and accuracy is really going to affect you, but medium range, I really didn't have much of a problem dropping my enemies, and having that 850 round per minute rate of fire is incredibly good for taking out people fast. The only other assault rifles that fire faster than this one are the AK-971 and the FAMAS, both of which don't have the best recoil or long distance accuracy in the world, although I will say the AEK is a little bit easier to get long range kills than the F2000. Now, one drawback of the F2000 is it's got a decently long reload time. That's always kind of bugged me with some of the guns in this game, is that they design them to be really excellent for hip fire in close quarter situations, but then give them really long reload times. So you have to make sure you kill your opponents and then get ready to switch to your sidearm. Having the 1911 as a backup is great for this gun because you need something powerful to drop that one enemy that you weren't able to take out in close quarters. But I ended up having to switch to my sidearm a lot more than I guess I'm comfortable with or would have liked to, just because the long reload time of 2.5 seconds for the short reload and 3.5 seconds for the long reload is just too long in a lot of these close combat situations. Too many times did I have to rely on the 1911 to take out the last target. And honestly, taking down one guy with the 1911 is fine, but if there's two guys left over, it can be very difficult to finish off both of them. So just again, that long reload always kills me in these close quarter situations. I wish that there were some guns that were designed to have very short reload times and be good at very close quarter situations, and then the long range guns could have great accuracy at range but long reload times. I don't know, to me that just seems like it makes a little more sense game balance wise, but again, I guess you have to be kind of true to the way that weapons operate in real life. Bullpups are supposed to take a little bit longer to reload because it's a little bit more clumsy, but I gotta say, I don't think they should take quite as long as DICE makes them out to be, because I've seen a lot of people reload bullpup weapons incredibly fast. I think it's just a matter of getting used to it, and most people aren't used to the rear magazine design. Now, the rail system you see on the front of this weapon allows you to attach a foregrip and lasers and all that kind of stuff on the side of the gun. The rail system on my Airsoft weapon is actually a bit different looking. And I think it's a bit better than the one that's in Battlefield 3. The Battlefield 3 one is representative of, I think, the first rail system that was available for the F2000, but since then there have been a few other options made for it, and so you can get a little bit more rail space and customization options with where you want to place your gadgets, and that's something that's actually really important for tactical weapons, is having enough rail space and enough place to move things around to make sure you get all your gear and gadgets on there so your gun can perform exactly the way you want it to. Overall, I think the F2000 is still a good assault rifle. Its rate of fire keeps it in the game with its just ability to drop people extremely fast in any sort of medium range to close quarter situation. As soon as you get long distance though, the performance of the F2000 drops incredibly fast, and you sort of begin to notice where it fails compared to some of the more versatile assault rifles out there. Either way, I love the F2000, the look of it, the aesthetics. Hopefully we'll get some cool updates with it in Battlefield 4. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to leave your comments down below letting me know what you'd like me to run with for next week, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.